In this video, we are going to be looking at the SQL basics, and we're going to be covering the full outer join in this video. Now, we've already discussed the left join and the right join, as well as the inner join. So these will be fairly straightforward to understand since we've discussed those already. So let's look at the two tables that we've been using. We have table 1, we have table 2, and we see that the overlap on table 1 and table 2 using ID is the records 3 and 4. We'll notice that when we're using the letter, there's no overlap, and if we're using vowel, there's no overlap between the table. But if we do any join on these tables, such as a inner join, we would get a match of 3 and 4. So the full outer join is exactly what we would expect when we think of full outer join, is it's going to actually return both tables. Because in this query I am joining on ID, we will actually get a match returned. We'll see we're selecting star from table 1, that's T1 here, full outer join table 2, T2, and we're joining this on ID, and we'll see 3 and 4 because 3 and 4 do match. Again, if we go back to our tables, we see that the ID 3 and 4 is in table 1 and the ID 3 and 4 is in table 2. However, 1 and 2 are not in table 2, and 5 and 6 are not in table 1. So it returns both sets of data in both tables. But because we're joining on a condition where there are matches, we do see that returned in this result set as well. So the null records that we see here are only where there are no matches whatsoever. Now, what will happen if we, let's say, join on a condition that doesn't match? This would apply, by the way, to vowel or letter. But what we're going to do here is we're going to do a join on letter. So this is the same exact query, except we're joining on letter. And what we see happens is we get all of the results in table 1, and we get all of the results in table 2, but there's no matches whatsoever. And that makes sense because we'll notice that letter is exclusive in both tables, mutually exclusive. There is no letter in table 1 that's in table 2. And for the record, if you wanted to run this query on your own and you wanted to do vowel, you would get the same result sets. That's because we don't see any vowel in table 1 that's ever in table 2. So it's very intuitive because we've already discussed the inner join, the left join, and the right join. This one is pretty straightforward as to what our result set is going to be. This full outer join will be very costly, by the way. It's not in this query because there's only 8 total records, but it's very costly when we're running this and we have huge tables. So it's not going to be something that you're going to want to use very often if you have very large tables, because it's going to return both result sets when you do this join.